welcome back to my channel, Beautiful Minutia. If you're new here, my name is Tiffany, and today I'm talking about all the books that I am planning to read in July. It's actually been a little bit since I have done a sit-down video. I've only been able to do like a little bit of vlogging the past couple of weeks, so it's nice to actually sit down and talk to you in my normal setting. So anyways, I am so excited for July. I have a jam-packed July, but I'm not complaining at all because the main reason that it's so jam-packed is that I am co-hosting a readathon called Ktropeathon, which you may have seen the announcement for. If not, I will link it. I am co-hosting this readathon with my friend Christy Lewis from Dostoevsky in Space, and also Yoon from Dr. Yoon, and we are so excited about this readathon. Basically, it's really a celebration of all things Korean, but most especially Korean entertainment. So a lot of the reading prompts are based on tropes that you find either in K-pop or K-drama. So we have a bingo board, which is super fun, that has some life prompts, but there are 5 reading prompts on this board, 3 of which are K-pop based and 2 of which are K-drama based. So I'm just gonna kind of go through some of my possibilities for Ktropeathon, and I'm definitely not gonna get to all these books, but I have so many books that I'm really excited about, so many books that I was really hoping to read during Koreadathon this year in March, but they didn't host Ktropeathon, which is so sad. So I've been hanging on to these books and I'm super excited to be reading them. So one of the K-pop prompts is trendy or trendsetter. And I have a couple of possibilities for this one of which is the book Almond, which I have on my Kindle right now. And that is one that like a lot of people are talking about. A lot of K-pop idols have really mentioned this a lot and how much they love it, and so it's very trendy in that sense, in the sense that it has also been promoted by some K-pop idols, but also it's gotten a lot of buzz. So that's one of my possibilities for that, along with If I Had Your Face. And this one also could work for one of the K-drama prompts as well, which I'll get to in a little bit, but I'll probably use one of these 2 books for trendy or trendsetter. The next K-pop trope that is on here is a dating scandal. So I could use our group read Once Upon a K-prom for this one, but I think what I'm actually going to use is I'm reading for Jane Austen July, not this whole thing, but I'm planning on reading Mansfield Park, and I feel like every single Jane Austen book has dating scandals, so I will probably use that for that prompt. And then the last K-pop inspired prompt is clever wordplay or abbreviations, so I'll probably do Once Upon a K-prom actually for that one, because I don't think I have any other books that kind of suit that. So then we have 2 K-drama inspired prompts. We actually have 3 K-drama prompts, but one of the prompts is our group watch, which is Hospital Playlist. So that's not a reading prompt. So the 2 other prompts that we have are reading prompts, and so one of them is Destiny or Fate. And so for that one, I think I'm going to read Princess Body, which my friend Dia read earlier this year, and then she sent me her copy of it. So I'm super excited to read this, but this is about a young girl in North Korea, and then she escapes. And I think that it kind of does deal with some destiny and fate and all that kind of thing, while also entwining with Korean legends and folklore and that kind of stuff. So I think that this will work. If not, then I'll try to find something else. I guess I won't know for sure until I read it, but it seems like it might deal with some of those themes. And then the last prompt is snow or flower petals, which you see often in K-dramas. And usually when there are 2 characters who are falling in love, it's snowing or there's like cherry blossom petals falling around them. So for that one, I have 2 options. Like I said, If I Have Your Face, which I mentioned earlier, will also work for this one, but so will When My Name Was Kyoko by Linda Sue Park. This is a middle grade historical fiction about a young girl living in Korea, and then Imperial Japan comes and takes over during the World War and forces everyone to adopt Japanese names and things like that. So her name is changed to Kyoko, and so that's what this book is about, but it does have flowers on the cover. So, well, one flower anyway. So I have a couple different possibilities for that. And I have a couple other like Korean books that have been sitting around that I've been wanting to read that I may pick up that are relatively short. One of them is another Linda Sue Park book, Archer's Quest. This is about a young boy who lives in current day, I think, America. And this man here is from the past in Korea and somehow accidentally time travels to this boy, and he has to figure out how to get him back to his time period. So there's a lot of things interwoven about Korean history as well, I think. And my daughter really enjoyed this one. So this is one that I would like to pick up potentially. And then another one that my friend Dia also sent me that she didn't enjoy as much, but she sent it to me, is 100 Shadows. And I think that this is like partly like kind of sci-fi-ish and kind of, I don't know if it's like alternate universe or alternate timeline kind of thing in like a very techie Seoul, which Seoul is techie anyway. But I think that this, it says it's like in a slum electronics market in central Seoul, a city known better for its shiny skyscrapers and slick pop videos. An awkward, tentative relationship grows between repair shop assistants Yongo and Muje. That doesn't really sound sci-fi, but I feel like this was labeled as sci-fi somewhere. So I don't really know. Maybe I have no idea what this is about. I don't know. But this is one that I would also like to pick up. One thing that I've noticed with a lot of Korean books is that they're actually relatively short. I don't know that I've ever seen one that's like over 300 pages, but most of them are less than 200 pages. Like this one here is like 145 pages. And then Princess Body is actually, well, that one's 250 pages. So this one's actually on the long side. But I found that a lot of Asian literature in general, Japanese as well, tends to be on the shorter side. So I have hopes that I can get to quite a few of these, but I've had several of these just for a while, really hoping to read them. And then I have some hopes to maybe do a reading, like a K-pop idol kind of reading vlog. So I have a couple other books that I may add to that, but we'll kind of see, because I have like a lot of things on the docket right now. So speaking of things on the docket, I already mentioned Mansfield Park for Jane Austen July, but I do have a few other things that I'm also going to be reading. I am going to be reading the posthumous memoirs of Bras Cubas by Machado de Assis. Hopefully I'm saying that correctly. So this is on my classics TBR for the year, and I've heard a couple of people have read this and really enjoyed it and thought it was very funny and very tongue-in-cheek. My theme for my classics TBR this year is kind of like reading around the world, so I tried to choose more than just English or Russian literature, which are like my two go-tos when it comes to classic literature. And this is Brazilian, so I don't think I've ever read any Brazilian literature before, so I'm super excited to be reading this. I am going to be reading it with my friends Dia from Novel Idea and also Una from Codex Cantina. So super excited to dig into their brains as we read this, because they're both just brilliant and deep thinkers, and I love hearing their thoughts on things, so it's gonna be super fun to read this with them. I've been reading through some Sanderson works with my friend Whitney. We started with Words of Radiance earlier this year, and then we read Warbreaker and we read Edge Dancer last month. So this month we will be starting Oathbringer, which is a chunk after reading Warbreaker and Edge Dancer. This is a lot. So it's possible that I'll get through this in a whole month. It's possible that I won't, because it's just really, really long. And everyone always tells me like, oh, it doesn't read as long as it is, but it still usually takes me a while to get through a book of this length, even if it's like a page turner, and even if it's exciting and it doesn't feel like it's dragging or anything like that. It still takes me a while. This one's over 1,200 pages, so this is the longest one so far that we've read, because Way of Kings was around 1,000 pages. Words of Radiance, I think, was around 1,100. This one's over 1,200, so they just keep getting longer. I don't know if Rhythm of War is longer than this one or not, but I'm excited to continue this. It's been super fun to actually read this with someone in person and chat with her in person about these things. It's like my first time ever doing that, and so that has been so fun. And then I have some books that have sat on my TBR for the last few months, and hopefully this will be the month I actually read them. Although one of them is actually a continuation. I don't have the dust jacket on here. This is Don Quixote, and I don't even know if my bookmark, I think my bookmark's not quite in the correct place because I'm actually close to halfway. I've switched to audiobook for this at a certain point, and I talked about it in one of my weekly vlogs, so I'm not gonna really rehash that here because I'll probably also talk about it maybe a bit in my wrap up. But it was just kind of starting to slog for me, and I had other books that I needed to complete for book clubs and stuff, so haven't quite gotten back to this one, but I am planning on reading more of it. I'm planning on finishing it. I'm not just gonna leave it as a DNF because it's not like I'm disliking it. It's just not really grabbing me right now. Then I have a couple books, like I said, that I have had sitting here for a while and I still haven't started them. One of which is Thunderhead by Neil Shusterman. This has been on my TBR the last 2 months, I think. I read Scythe with Dia, and then we were planning on reading Thunderhead, and it just hasn't happened yet. It's been crazy. It's my fault, not Dia's, that I have like overscheduled myself to death and had trouble to actually fit this in. So hopefully that will actually happen in July. And then also I have Moby Dick, which at the time of filming this, I have not yet started, but I'm filming this like a week before July starts. So I'm really hoping that I will actually get this started. But I'm trying to finish a couple of other books for book clubs right now. So once I finish both of those, my plan is to pick this one up. So I hope that by the time I start July, I will have actually cracked this open and at least read a few chapters, but I guess you never know. And I think this is the last book on my TBR, I think. I feel like I'm forgetting something. I'm probably forgetting something. But anyways, I have been working my way through my Read or Rid project, which I'll link that video in case you don't know what I'm talking about. But essentially I picked books that have been sitting on my shelf for way too long, or I had no desire to read and was wondering why I even owned them, and I have to read them by the end of this year or I have to get rid of them. So I have been doing an okay job at like cooking along on the books that I was using to plug into the Buzzwordathon and the Read Your Bookshelf Challenge, and that is really helping. But you know, there are lots of ones that didn't make it onto those lists, and so there are some that are still just sitting there. But anyways, I don't have a book for the Buzzwordathon that fits this. It's like a weather related word, and I don't really have anything, so that's okay. I'm just gonna ignore that. But for the Read Your Bookshelf Challenge, essentially what we're doing is we're building off of the previous month's prompt. So my book for June was Smale Home, which is kind of like a middle grade medieval setting. I think there's some fantasy elements to it as well. And July's prompt was that it needs to take place in a different country. So the book that I chose for that is I Am the Messenger by Marcus Zusak. This is a YA, and it takes place in Australia because that is where the author is from, and I don't really know anything else about it, so we'll find out. I really loved The Book Thief by Marcus Zusak, and I read that years ago. It's actually been quite a while since I've read that. I think Claire was pretty small when I read that, so it's probably been a good like 6 to 8 years since I've read that one, and my tastes have changed since then, and this is a different genre than The Book Thief. So I do remember liking The Book Thief a lot though, and then I tried to read I Am Clay by this author, or no, not I Am Clay, Bridge of Clay. I combined I Am the Messenger and Bridge of Clay. Tried to read Bridge of Clay and really was just hating it and ended up DNFing it. So this could really go either way. So there you have it. That is what I'm planning to read for the month of July. I have a lot going on. But I'm really excited about so much of it, especially Ktropeathon. Lots of fun Korean reads on here that I'm really looking forward to reading. So I'd love to hear from you in the comments down below. Are you participating in any readathons, Jane Austen July, Ktropeathon, any others. I'm sure there are so many, so many. There's always so many others that I want to participate in, but when I'm co-hosting one, I kind of like push a lot of the other ones to the side because otherwise I will burn out like crazy. But I'm really looking forward to the reads that I have planned in the month of July, and love to hear what you have planned as well. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please hit like and also subscribe so you can continue to see more bookish content from me, and I will see you again next time.